Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we're going over a mock exam for Mathematics for Science MS for the final exam, of course. Before we continue, let me give you some information about the final exam. The final exam can cover chapter 10 to chapter 15, which means you have chapter 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 as well. The final exam gonna worth 40% of your total grade, which means usually you're gonna get 15 to 10 grades to pass this course, or sometimes more than that if you didn't do well in module one. So without any delay, let's start our mock exam now. The first question here, the range of a function is, or they want me to find the range of a function f, where f is an order pair set, 1, 3, 2, 6, 4, 12, and 5, 15. So remember that function is a system of input and output. And when we talk about range, we usually talk about the output, the value of y. So in order pair, or in that case, we call 1 and 3, 2, 6, 4, 12, 5, 15 an order pair, رقمين. So the first number stand for the input, but the second number here stand for the output. So if I want to get my range, first I'm gonna put a circle on my output. So 3, 6, 12, and 15, which mean I would like the set that involve 3, 6, 12, and 15, which gonna take me to the answer letter B. Let's go to the second question. If f of x equal 3x squared minus 1, then the value of f of 2 equal. So remember again, a function is a system of input and output. If my input here is 2, so what is my output? What I'm gonna do here, first I'm gonna write f of 2, then I'm gonna replace the x here with a 2. So instead of writing x, I'm gonna write 2. I'm gonna have 3, 2 squared minus 1, which is gonna give me, if I use the calculator, 11. So my answer gonna be 11. So let's go to the question number 3. If f of x equal 4x minus 1 and g of x equal 2x, then what is f of g of 3? So remember, this one is a composition of a function. When we talk about a composition of function, we have two functions. First, we're going to have the inside function, and also we're going to have outside function. So in order for me to find the answer for this question, first I need to calculate what is my inside function. So my inside function is g of 3. G of 3. How to calculate g of 3? I'm going to go back to the g of x, function, and then I'm gonna replace every single x with what? With a 3. So I'm gonna have 2 times 3, which of course gonna give me 6. However, remember, 6 is not my answer because I have two function, an inside function and outside function. Now we calculate what is the inside function. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna lift with the outside function, which is f, and g of 3 becomes 6. We already find the answer here. So now I'm gonna find what is f of 6. How I'm gonna find f of 6? I'm gonna go back to the f function. I'm gonna replace every single x with a 6. So I'm gonna have 4 times 6 minus 1, which is gonna give me 23, if I use the calculator, of course. So now let's go to the question number 4. The radian measure of 270 degree is, so remember, now I have the angle given in degree, and I need to change the angle from degree to radian. I have that. If I have degree, so to change degree to radian, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna multiply with what? I'm gonna multiply with pi over 180 degree. So now I have the angle 270 degree. To change it to radian, I'm gonna multiply it with what? Pi over 180. If I use the calculator, I'm gonna have the answer letter C, which is 3 pi over 2. Now let's go to the question number 5, where we need to simplify the expression cosine of theta times tan of theta times cosec or cosecant of theta. So to solve this question, we should remember the golden rule here. If I have a simplification of a ratio or a trigonometric function, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna replace every single trigonometric ratio that doesn't involve sine or cosine. بغير جميع الموجودات هنا معي اللي ما فيهم ساين ولا كوزين. في هذه الحالة ايش؟ I'm gonna change tan and I'm gonna change cosecant. Do I need to change cosine? No, because cosine is already in cosine. But tan, it is not in cosine or sine. Cosec, it is not in sine or cosine. So I'm gonna use the trigonometric identities. I know that tan of theta equals sine of theta divided by cosine of theta. Also, I know that the cosecant of theta is the reciprocal of sine, so it is 1 over sine of theta. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna rewrite this one here. Cosine, I didn't change cosine, but tan, did I change it? Yes, I put it as sine of theta over cosine of theta times, and the cosecant, I changed it to 1 over sine of theta. So this one gonna cancel with this one gonna cancel with this one. What I'm gonna left with? The one, which is letter C. Now let's go to question number 6. Evaluate sine, the arc cosine of 4 divided by 5. So remember the inside here, the arc cosine. What does arc cosine mean? It means that there exists an angle such that 4 over 5, or such that cosine of that angle equal 4 over 5. So if that's my cosine, can I find sine? The answer is yes. I can use the Pythagorean identities. So cosine squared of theta plus sine squared of theta equal 1. So cosine is 4 over 5. So cosine squared gonna be 4 over 5 all squared plus sine squared of theta equal 1. Now I'm gonna take this one to the other side. What I'm gonna have, sine squared of theta equal 1 minus 4 over 5 all squared. Now to get rid of the squared on sine, I'm gonna take the square root of both sides. So this one gonna cancel with this one. And if I use the calculator to count this one, I'm gonna end up with the answer of 3 over 5. And that's gonna be my sine theta. So that's gonna be my answer. Now let's go to the question number 7. The test scores of 7 students are given below. Find the mean. So they want me to find the mean. What we mean by mean? Mean is المتوسط الحسابي, which means it is the summation of all values divided by its number. So mean equal the summation of all value divided by their number. So first مجموع القيم على عددهم. First, let's start by counting how many value we have. I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and also 7. So in the number gonna be 7. So my mean gonna be 7 here. But what is my numerator? My numerator is the summation of all value, which means 42 plus 35 plus 48 plus 31 plus 50 plus 44 plus 38. And of course, I'm going to use the calculator to find that this one is 41.14. And that's my mean. Now let's go to the second page where we're going to have question 8, 9, and 10. So let's read question 8. Two dice are rolled. Find the probability that the sum is equal to 8. Two dice, which mean نردين دحرقناهم، أم بيكون الرقمين اللي نطلع منهم يساوي مجموعهم يساوي 8. So remember, we can obtain one number from one die and the other number from the other die. So for example, we can have the first number 1, the second number 2, and so on. What we would like to have here, that if we have those two numbers, they should add to what? To 8. So how I'm gonna solve this one first? I'm gonna think about all possibilities where I'm gonna have two numbers that add to 8. So first I'm gonna define my event E. The first pair I can think about is 2 and 6. So if I get 2 from the first die and I got also 6 from the second die, if I add 2 plus 6, I'm gonna get what? 8. What else I'm gonna have? I'm gonna have 3 and what? And 5. Also, I'm gonna have 4 and 4. What else? I'm gonna have 5 and 3. What else I'm gonna have? 6 and 2. So how many outcome I have? I have 5 outcomes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I have 5 different outcomes. So let's remind you about the law of probability. So the formula of probability, that probability of E is as following: the total number of all outcome that's my denominator, but my numerator is the number of favorable outcome. يعني عدد الاوتكم اللي يباهن، يعني في هذه الحالة بيكون عدد الاوتكم اللي رقمين مجموعهم 8 تقسيم العدد الكلي للاوتكم. So we should know that probability of E gonna be how many outcome I have here? 5. So the favorable outcome أو الأوتكم اللي يباه كم عددهم؟ 1 2 3 4 5. So I'm gonna have 5. And what is the total number of outcome? See, this one is a bit trickier, but you can think about it. What is the sample space, or what is the number of outcome in the sample space of throwing one die? It is 6. So if I have another die, it will be also another 6. If I multiply them together, I'm gonna get 36. So the total number of all outcomes is 36. So my probability is 5 over 36. Let's go to the question number 9. Find the sample space for rolling a single die. So again, die means node. And we know that as a regular die has numbers from 1 to what? To 6. So what is my possible outcome? Remember, sample space is all possible outcome. جميع الإمكانيات الممكنة. For example, in that case, I can get 1, I can get 2, I can get 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that's gonna be my answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's go to the number 10. A committee of 4 people is to be chosen from a group of 9 people. In how many ways can this be done? So as we know, there are few words that gonna tell me when I'm gonna use combination and when I'm gonna use permutation. First, we're gonna use combination or permutation because they asking me about how many ways. So this means we're gonna use permutation or combination. We're gonna use the permutation if the order is or does matter, and we're gonna use the combination if the order does not matter. So in that case, does the order matter? هل الترتيب مهم? To answer this question, let me give you a simple example. For example, if I have a committee that consists of Ahmed and Saeed, okay, and I have another committee that consists from Saeed and Ahmed. Are those two committed or those two committees, are they different or they are the same? Obviously, they are the same, right? Because I have the same people in my first committee and I have the same people in my second committee. In that case, the order does not matter. So it is does not matter. If the order does not matter, then you're gonna use what? Combination or C. So the answer for that is 9. We're gonna have 9 people here in total, and from the 9 people we would like to choose what? How many? 4. So that's gonna be my answer, which is or which equal, of course, 9 factorial divided by 4 factorial times 9 minus 4 factorial, which gonna give me, of course, 126. So number of ways gonna be 126. Let's go to question number 11. Find the inverse of the function f of x equal 3x minus 7 over 2. So to solve this question, first let's remind ourselves, what does inverse function mean? It means this notation. We have seen it many times. How we gonna find the inverse function? First, we're gonna follow a few steps. The first step, we're gonna let f of x equal y, which means I'm gonna go here, instead of f of x, I'm gonna write y. So y equal 3x minus 7 over 2. 2, I'm gonna solve for x. I'm gonna solve for x. How I'm gonna solve for x? First, I'm gonna cross multiplication, which means I'm gonna have 2 times y equal 3x minus 7. Then I'm gonna take 7 to the other side, so I'm gonna have 3x equal 2y plus 7. Then I'm gonna divide both sides by what? By 3. So this 3 cancel with this 3. I'm gonna have x equal 2y plus 7 over 3. So now we did solve for x. What I'm gonna do here, number 3, I'm gonna let x equal the inverse function of x and y equal x. So I'm gonna have this one. Instead of writing x, I'm gonna write the inverse function of x, and also I'm gonna change every single y to what? To x. So 2x plus 7 over 3. So there are many ways to solve this one. You can use the other one. You can instead to interchange between x and y, and then solve for y, and then change y to the inverse function. Both of them are correct. So now let's go to the question number 12. Solve for x, where I have 3 to the power 2x plus 1 equal 81. So remember, we call this one the exponent equation. The exponent equation, where our variable and the something we would like to find is exponent. So in that case, what we're gonna do, we're gonna put 80, or sorry, let's say we would like to have the same base. بيكون عندنا نفس الأساس. For example, now 81, I would like 81 to be 3 to something here. So if I remember correctly, 81 is 3 to the power 4. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write this equation, 3 to the power 2x plus 1 equal, but now I will not write 81. What I'm gonna write? I'm gonna write 3 to the power 4. So I'm gonna let those two equal each other. Why? Because I have the same base. When I have the same base, it is safe for me to put the exponent equal each other. So I'm gonna have 2x plus 1 equal what? 4. Now how I'm gonna solve for x? I'm gonna take 1 to the other side. So 2x equal 3, because 1 becomes minus, and 4 minus 1 is 3. Then I'm gonna divide both sides by what? By 2. So 2 cancel with that 2. So x equal what? 3 over 2. And that's gonna be my answer. Number 13. A ladder 10 meters long leans against a vertical wall. The foot of the ladder makes an angle of 60 degrees with the ground. Find the height at which the ladder touches the wall. So first, to solve that kind of question, remember this question is application of trigonometric functions, or sorry, trigonometric ratios, which mean it is a real life problem and we need to convert that problem into math. So the best way to do this one, first we're gonna visualize the situation. بنصور أو بنرسم الموقف. So what I'm gonna have, first I'm gonna have a ladder which is 10 meters, عندي درج طول الدرج 10 meter. So that's my ladder. Okay, this ladder is 10 meter long, and also what I'm gonna have, it leans against a vertical wall. متكية أو الدرج متكي على جدار عمودي. So that's my vertical wall here. Okay. What they want me to do here, and then, sorry, let's continue. The foot of the ladder makes an angle of 60 degree with the ground. What we mean by the word ground, it means أرضية. هي الأرضية? This one, right? So this one is ground. So the angle is, or the angle is between the ladder and the ground. بين الدرج وهيش والأرضية, which mean here, that's gonna be my angle. What is the angle? 60 degree. Find the height at which the ladder touches the wall. So they want me to find that height, which I'm gonna call h. So now that's my situation, that's my visualization of the problem. Now let's think about it. I have the length of the ladder, which in that case I have a right triangle مثلث قائم الزاوية and 10 meter is my hypotenuse وال10 هو ايش الوتر. So now I will think about a relationship between h and 10. So in that case what is h؟ ايش ال h بتكون هنا؟ ايش اللي قابل الزاوية؟ المقابل. So h gonna be my opposite. Okay. So what is the relationship between the opposite and the hypotenuse? The trigonometric relationship. Yes, that's correct. If you or if you say it, it is sine. So I know that sine of theta equal what? The opposite over the hypotenuse. So now let's insert or let's sub the things we know. So sine, what is my theta? It's 60 degree equal, what is my opposite? ايش المقابل? Is h. And what is my hypotenuse? Is given to be 10. So how I'm gonna find h? I'm gonna cross multiplication. So cross multiplication here. So h times 1 is just h equal 10 times sine of 60 degree. I just need to use the calculator to find the answer here, which is gonna be 5 and the square root of 3, and I shouldn't forget the unit. How I'm gonna find the unit here? Meters. So it would be on meters. And that's gonna be my solution for this question. Let's go to the question number 14. In a triangle ABC, given the angle A equal 40 degree, angle B equals 60 degree, and side C equal 3 meter. Find sides A and B. So we should remember that in a triangle, or at least in the oblique triangle, if I have my angle A here, then the small a or the side A gonna be here, the opposite of the angle A. If I have the capital B here, then my small b or the side B gonna be here. If I have the angle capital C, then my small c gonna be here. And when I would like to use the sine law, متى بستعمل الساين law? If I have an angle and its opposite side. إذا كان عندي زاوية وطلعها المقابل. For example, if I have the capital C and the small c, the capital A and small a, the capital B and small b. But if I look at this problem, I don't have the capital C. I have the small c, but do I have the capital C? No. So what we're gonna do first before using the sine law is let me remind you with the law of angles, interior angle of triangle. The summation of all angles is 180 degree inside a triangle. So the angle A plus the angle B plus the angle C equal 180. So 180, the angle A is given to be 40. So I'm gonna sub it here, degree. Plus the angle B is given to be 60 degree. Plus the angle C gonna be the angle C because I don't know it. I would like to find it. So just taking those two numbers to the other side, 40 plus 60 is 100. Taking 100 to the other side, it's gonna give me that the angle C equal 80 degree. Okay. So now I found what is my angle C. Since I found my angle C, let me remind you with the sine law. If I have A over sine of capital A, it will be equal to small c sine to capital C. Also, if I have small b divided by sine of capital B, it also gonna equal small c divided by sine of capital C. So let's sub what we know here. Small a, I don't know it. It is the something I would like to find. But small a هو الشيء اللي لازم أحصله, right? So divided by sine of what is capital A is given to be what? 40. Equal what? It equal small c, which is 3, is given to be 3 here, divided by sine of capital C. We found sine as capital C to be what? 80. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have cross multiplication, ضرب تبادلي. So I'm gonna multiply A with sine of 80 and divide again sine of 80, so I can write everything in a clear way. It will be 3 times sine of 40 divided by sine of 80, which is gonna give me 1.96 meter. Now let's do for the second one to find small b again. What we're gonna do? First, we're gonna write b because we would like to find it. I don't have the small b. Divided by small sine, sorry, by sine capital B. What's capital B? Is given to be 60, which equal small c divided by sine of capital C. What is capital C? It's 80. So again, I'm gonna have what? Cross multiplication. So I'm gonna have small b equal oh sorry, that's not c because we already know c, it should be 3. So it would be 3 times sine of 60 divided by sine of 80, which is gonna give me, if I use the calculator, 2.64 meter. Remember, I should not forget about meter. So that was question number 14. Now let's go to question number 15. In question number 15, the table below shows the number of vehicles of different type in parking lot. Construct a pie chart. So remember what we mean by pie chart. It is the circle. It's a way to represent the data. Okay, so we have now this table, a vehicle type. We have cars, we have trucks, we have motorcycles, we have buses. And also we have the frequencies or التكرار. We have the number of vehicles. So cars have 180, trucks 60, motorcycles is 90, and the last one, buses, is 30. But they want me to find the angles. So remember, I have a law for the angle. Angle, in that case, the angle equal f divided by the summation of f times 360 degree. So what we mean by f means التكرار حل شيء معين. And what is the summation of f? It is the sum of all frequencies. مجموع جميع التكرارات. For example, car is 180 plus what is trucks 60 plus motorcycles is 90 plus buses are 30s, which if I add all of that, it will be 360. So now how I'm gonna find angles? For car, how I'm gonna find the angle? I'm gonna first, what is my f in car? It is 180. It will be 180 divided by the summation of f, or the total number of f. بيكون الاف الفريكونسي التكرار تقسيم مجموع التكرار الكلي ضرب 360. في السيارة كم التكرار كان؟ 180. بيكون معنا 180 تقسيم 360 تكرار الكلي ضرب 360 درجة, which is gonna give me 180 degree. So I'm gonna write it here, 180 degree. Then I'm gonna do for truck again. It's gonna give me 60 divided by 360 times 360 degree. It's gonna give me 60 degree. So I can do for all of them. So this one gonna be 60 degree, this one gonna be 90 degree, and this one gonna be 30 degrees. You can use by yourself, but what you're gonna do, you just need to use your calculator to write all the angles. You're gonna divide it by the total numbers, and again you're gonna multiply it with 360 degree. Now after you find all the angles, what you're gonna do, you're gonna create your circle. So you're gonna have a circle with a center like that. And then if you don't have your first, it is good for you to bring your manqala. If you brought your manqala, there's no need for you to think about the angles or how to be accurate, because you always know how to write the angles using the manqala. But now what I'm gonna do, I will try to be as accurate as I can. So I know that cars, the angle for the car is 180. So 180 is what? Is half circle, نص دائرة. So this one is what? Car. And 180 degree. Then I'm gonna go to trucks. So trucks gonna be 60 degree. So it's almost like that. Okay. So that's gonna be truck, which is 60 degree. Then I'm gonna have motorcycle. Motorcycle is 90 degree. 90 degrees is a right angle أو زاوية قائمة. So that will be a quarter of a circle. That's gonna be motor cycles, which is 90 degree. And the last one is buses, which is 30 degree. So that's my pie chart. So remember, in order for you to construct a pie chart, first you're gonna find the angles. How you're gonna find the angle? You're gonna use this formula here, where f gonna be differ, بتختلف ال f حسب اختلاف الكلاس. For example في الكار كم كان معنا ال f؟ 180. في التراكس كم كان معنا ال f؟ 16. في الموتورسايكل 90, and buses is 30. So that was for question 15. Again, after you find the angles, you're just gonna create your circle, and inside the circle you're gonna divide it to how many class you have, but you shouldn't do it randomly. It should be according to the angle you found. So let's go to number 16 here, or 16 part A. Find the slope and intercept, and then sketch the graph of a function f of x equal minus 3x plus 6. So remember what they want me to find. They want me to find the slope. Also, they want me to find the intercepts. And they also want me to sketch. So I need to do three things in that question. So let me remind you about the line function or the linear function. We're gonna have f of x equal m of x plus b. That's the format, or that's the form of the linear function, where m here gonna be my slope. M, or the coefficient of x, gonna be my slope. B here gonna be my y intercept, where 0 and b is my y intercept, or my point intercept. And also x intercept gonna be what? Minus b over m, and what? And 0. So first I'm gonna write the question I have: f of x equal minus 3x plus 6. Okay, so first let's find what is the slope. The slope أو الميل equal m is what? Is the coefficient of x squared. معامل sorry, it's the coefficient of x, معامل x, which is minus 3. That's gonna be my slope. Then now let's find what is my y intercept. So my y intercept is 0 and b. What is b in that case? It will be 6. So it will be 0 and 6. Also, I'm gonna find what is my x intercept, which gonna be minus b over m. So minus b is minus, b is 6, so minus 6 divided by m. M is minus 3, so minus cancel minus, and this is gonna give me 2. So my x-intercept is gonna be 2 and 0. So what I'm gonna do to sketch this one here, I'm gonna draw my x and y plan like that. Okay, and then I'm gonna name them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Here I'm gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Also here I'm gonna have minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. Also here I'm gonna have minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5. So what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna plot my y-intercept and my x-intercept. So where's my y-intercept? 0 and 6. 0 and 6 is that point. Now I'm gonna go to the x-intercept, which is 2 and 0, which is that point. But just for accuracy, what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna create my x and y value box. So that's x and y. So if x is 0, then y is 6. If x is 1, then y is what? كيف بحسبها? I'm gonna go back to the function here. Instead of x, I'm gonna write 1, and I'm gonna have the here is minus 3 times 1 plus 6, which is gonna give me what? 3. So the value of y gonna be 3. Then if x equal 2, then y is 0. And let me continue. If x is 3, then y gonna be minus 3. So I'm just gonna plot those extra points I found for accuracy. So 1, x, 1 and 3 gonna be here. Also 3 and minus 3, it's gonna be almost here. So as you can see now, I can I'm having a straight line. That straight line gonna be my what? My line. So I'm just trying to be as perfect as I can, and that's gonna be my line. Okay, this one is pretty easy. It is not like sketching a quadratic function. It is linear function, so you only need to find the slope, x-intercept and y-intercept, plot those points, and find few points to be accurate, and you are done. So now let's go to number 16, part B. The question number 16, part B. If cosine of theta equal 5 over 13, and theta is the, if cosine of theta equal 5 over 13, and theta is in the first quadrant, find sine and tan of theta. So we just first make sure that our theta is in the first quadrant. So if theta is in the first quadrant, which mean here, then sine gonna be positive, cosine gonna be positive, and also tan gonna be positive. All of them gonna be positive in the first quadrant. So what you're gonna have, you're gonna have cosine of theta equal 5 over 13. What I'm gonna do here, I know that cosine equal 5 over 13. So how I'm gonna find sine? I should remember the Pythagorean identities, which means sine squared of theta plus cosine squared of theta equal 1. So now I'm gonna sub the cosine theta equal 5 over 13 in my Pythagorean identities. So I'm gonna have sine squared of theta plus 5 over 13 squared, which is gonna equal 1. Now to solve for sine, I'm gonna take that number to the other side. I'm gonna have sine squared of theta equal 1 minus 5 over 13 squared. Now to get rid of the squared here, I'm gonna take the square root of both sides. So the square root gonna goes with the square root, and if I use the calculator to find what is my answer, I'm gonna get that sine of theta equal 12 over 13. So that's sine of theta, and remember sine of theta should be positive. Why? Because it is in the first quadrant. Now I'm gonna go back to the tan of theta. So I know tan of theta equal what? Sine over cosine. So I'm gonna have, what is sine? Sine gonna be 12 over 13, and cosine gonna be what? 5 over 13. So use the calculator, you're gonna get 12 over 5. That's gonna be your tan. Okay. So now let's go to question number 17, part A. Let me just make sure to correct this one here. The model should be A equal AO times 2 to the power minus T over H. Okay. So our radioactive substance has an initial mass of 200 grams. Its half-life is 10 years. How long will it take for the mass to decay to 50 grams? How I'm gonna solve this question here? First, I need to make sure I understand all the variable inside my model. A here stands for the amount at T. AO here stands for what? Initial amount. T here stands for the time, and H here stands for the half life. So that's what I'm gonna do first. I should always understand every single variable. So now I'm gonna look at my question again. A radioactive substance has an initial mass of 200 grams. Initial mass. So AO gonna be what? 200 gram. And its half-life is what? Is 10 years. So H is what? 10 years. Okay. How long will it take for the mass to decay to 50 gram? How long? When they ask me how long, they means, or they asking for the time. They want me to find the time required from, or the time required for 200 gram of mass to become 50 gram after some times. So A gonna be what? 50 gram. So, and they of course want me to find what is T here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put everything inside my model. So A gonna be 50 gram equal AO gonna be 200 gram times 2 to the power minus T over H. What is H? Is 10. Okay. So for me to solve this one, as you can see, I can tell that my variable is exponent. المتغير هنا أس. لما يكون المتغير أس لازم نستعمل ال ln ولا logarithmat. So first, what we're gonna do, isolate t, or sorry, isolate 2 minus t over 10. بنخلي 2 to the power minus t over 10 in one side. So to do so, first we're gonna divide both sides by what? 200. So this one gonna cancel with this one. 50 divided by 200 is just 1 over 4, which is gonna equal 2 minus t over 10. Now I should remember a very good properties of a logarithmic. If I have log or the natural log of x to the power a to any number to some power, I can always do what? I can bring the power down, right? So I'm gonna have a ln of x. So we're gonna use this method, or we're gonna take the ln of both sides, so we can get minus t over 10 down. So I'm gonna have ln for the first side, which is 1 over 4, equal ln of 2, so of ln 2 to the power minus 2 over 10. So in that case, we took ln both sides. Now what I'm gonna end up with here, I can always, this exponent, I can put it down here. So I'm gonna have ln of 1 of 4 equal minus t over what? 10 times ln of 2. So now what I'm gonna do, I would like to isolate t. أبغى أخلي t في طرف وحدة. So I'm gonna divide both sides by what? By ln of x, ln of 2. And also I'm gonna multiply both sides by 10 and 10. So I'm gonna have minus t, and of course this thing gonna cancel with this 10. This ln of 2 gonna cancel with this ln of 2. I'm gonna end up with minus t equal what? 10 ln of 1 over 4 divided by ln of 2. Now I just need to take the minus, so I'm gonna cut the minus here and put it here, or divide both sides by minus. So I have this beautiful value, which if I calculate it using the calculator, it will give me almost 20 years. And that's how you can find the answer for this one. So now let's go to 14 part B. Simplify the expression cosine pi over 4 minus x. So to simplify this one, as you can see, I have here how many angles? I'm gonna have two angles inside one cosine. So of course I'm gonna use the difference identities of cosine, which state that if I have cosine of a minus b, it is the same thing as cosine of a times cosine of b minus sine, plus sine of a times sine of b. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna apply this formula or this identities with this one. So I'm gonna have cosine of the first one, which is pi over 4 times cosine of the second one, which is x, plus sine with the first one, which is pi over 4 times cosine, not cosine again, sine of x. So I'm gonna ask myself, what can I do to find the answer with a calculator؟ ايش اللي بإمكاني أسويه عشان أحصل بعض الإجابات في الكالكوليتر؟ I can count this one, I can count this one، بإمكاني أحسب هذه وبإمكاني أحسب هذه. So I'm gonna calculate them using the calculator. I'm gonna get the square root of 2 over 2 times cosine of x plus the square root of 2 over 2 times sine of x. Now I'm gonna take the square root of 2 over 2 as a common factor. So I'm gonna have cosine of x plus sine of x. And like that, we did simplify it. We just separate the two angle inside to only one angle for each trigonometry. Let's now solve question number 18. In question number 18, what we're gonna do, solve the triangle. So when I have the word solve the triangle, what they want me to do actually is to find all angles، أحصل جميع الزوايا and all what? Sides. I need to find all angles and I need to find all sides. Given that A equal 5, B equal 8, and the angle C equal 40. If you remember correctly, I told you that we can use the sine law only, and if only I have what? I have an angle and its opposite side. For example, if I have the capital A and small a, I can use the sine law. If I have the capital B and small b, I can use the sine law. If I have the capital C and small c, I can use the sine law. However, here in that case, I cannot use it because I don't have any of the angle or its opposite side. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use the cosine law. Okay. And why? Because I'm gonna have SSA, side angle. أعطوني ضلعين وزاوية واحدة. If I have this one, I'm gonna use always the sine law. So remember, the sine law has many different laws, but what we're gonna use now is what is sine or is c squared equal a squared plus b squared minus 2ab times cosine of c. So as you can see now, we can find the small c because we already have small a, we already have small b, and also we already have the capital C. So small c gonna be, small a is given to be what? 5. So I'm gonna have 5 squared plus, and small b is given to be what? 8. 8 squared minus 2 times 5 times 8 times cosine, what is the capital C? Is 40. So if I use the calculator to count all of that, I'm gonna get that sine squared equal what? It's gonna equal 27.72, or almost. I'm gonna take the square root of both sides to get C, so C gonna be what? Gonna be 5.27 meter or centimeter in that case. Okay, so that's the small c. Why again? Why did I use the cosine law؟ ليش استعملت الكوزين لو والساين لو؟ لأن عندي قاعدة SSA، أعطيوني ضلعين وزاوية، والزاوية اللي أعطيوني إياها ما موجود لها أي ضلع، في هذه الحالة بستعمل كوزين لو. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, remember they asked me to solve the triangle, which mean it is correct that I have C and now I have all sides, but also I need to find all angles. لازم أحصل جميع الangles. So I have another interpretation of the cosine law, which is cosine of capital A equal B squared plus C squared minus A squared divided by 2BC. So I'm gonna put everything I know together. B squared gonna be 8 squared plus C squared, I just found it here. It would be 5.27 squared minus A squared, which gonna be 5 squared divided by what? By 2 times B. What is B? 8 again. Times C, what is C? 5.27. Again use the calculator، استعمل الحساب عشان تطلع جميع الحلول. It will be 0.7920. So how I'm gonna find the angle A here? Remember, I just need to use the arc cosine أو مقلوب أو inverse cosine or arc cosine or cosine to shift cosine. So I'm gonna have shift cosine, and then I'm gonna write 0.7928, and that's gonna give me what? A. So A, if I use the calculator again, it's gonna give me 37.6 degree. If that's my A, then how I'm gonna find B or the angle B? It's simple, right? Because I know the summation of all angles in triangle is 180 degree. So the sum of angle A plus the sum of angle B plus the sum of angle C. Okay, so 180 equal, the angle A is found to be 37.6 قبل شوي حصلتها degree زائد angle B is what I want to find plus what is the angle C is given to be 40 degree. So I'm gonna add those numbers, take them to the other side. I'm gonna have the angle B equal 180 minus 37.6 minus 40, which is gonna be 102.4 degree. And that's how we can find or that's how we're gonna solve the triangle. So again, To solve the triangle, what you need to do, you need to find all angles. لازم تحصلوا جميع الزوايا ال A وال B وال C، وأيضا لازم تحصلوا all sides، جميع الأضلاع، small a و small b و small c. And that's how we can again solve the triangle. Now let's continue on question number 18, part B. Find all solution exactly on the interval 0 is less than or equal theta, and theta is less than or equal to pi for the equation 3 sine theta minus 3 over 2 equals 0. So first let me write the equation here. 3 sine of theta minus 3 over 2 equals 0. So to solve this one, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna isolate the sine. أخلي الساين في طرف وحدة. How I'm gonna do that? I'm gonna take this one to the other side. So I'm gonna have 3 sine of theta equal what? 3 over 2. Then now I'm gonna divide both sides by what? By 3. So this 3 gonna cancel with this 3, and this 3 gonna cancel with this 3. I'm gonna have that sine of theta equal 1 over 2. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna observe what is 1 over 2. Is it positive or is it negative? النص اللي هنا موجب ولا سالب? It is positive. So now sine is positive. When I'm gonna have sine is positive, متى بيكون عندي sine موجب? In first quadrant or in the second quadrant. So I need to get an angle here, and also I need to get an angle here. لازم أحصل زاويتين، زاوية في الربع الأول وزاوية في الربع الثاني. What I'm gonna do again to solve this one, I'm gonna have theta equal shift sine or the arc sine of 1 over 2, which is gonna give me, of course, y over 6. Okay, that's my first angle. My second angle, remember, إذا كان عندي الزاوية الرئيسية اللي هي باي over 6، كيف أحصل second angle? It will be pi minus pi over 6, which is gonna be 5 pi over 6. يوم بحصل هنا angle ايش تكون باي minus theta وهنا theta. So those are my two solutions for this question. Now let's go to part 19a. A bag contains 6 green balls and 4 yellow balls. 2 balls are drawn from the bag without replacement, one after the other. So first let's concentrate, or let's focus on the word without replacement. What we mean without replacement? Without replacement mean if I have a bag and inside that bag there are many balls, for example 20 balls, and I draw from that bag 2 times. عندي شنطة وفيها 20 كورة، وسحبت من هذه الشنطة مرتين، كورتين، مرة أولى بعدين مرة ثانية. without replacement بدون إرجاع. إذا سحبت المرة الأولى ما بيبقى عدد اللي داخل الشنطة 20، بيتحول كم؟ 19، بينقص 1. هذا هو بدون إرجاع without replacement. One after the other using tree diagram. So they want me to use tree diagram to find the probability that both balls are green. So let's think about the scenario here. I have bag like that, and inside that bag I have how many? I have 6 green balls, and also I have 4 yellow balls. So what is the total of balls I have? كم مجموع كل البولز is 10 balls. عندي 10 كور داخل البال. So how I'm gonna construct a tree diagram, or how I'm gonna sketch the tree diagram? First, let's think about the scenario. I have how many action I have? I'm gonna have 2 action. The first draw and the second draw. So let's call the first draw, and then we're gonna have the second draw. when I take a first draw or when I take one ball from the bag, what are the outcomes? What are the possibilities that I'm gonna have? I have two possibilities. I have the first possibilities of picking a green ball. The second possibilities is to pick a yellow ball. عندي احتمالين. الاحتمال الأول إنه يكون عندي كورة خضراء والاحتمال الثاني يكون كورة صفراء. So I'm gonna divide the first action into two parts like that. The first part I'm gonna call if I get green. الاحتمال لو إنه يطلع لي كورة خضراء. الاحتمال الثاني I'm gonna call it yellow. Okay. So now let's think about the probabilities. Remember, the probabilities is the number of desired outcome divided by the entire outcomes. So how many green ball I have? 6. So the possibilities of finding or picking a green ball is 6 over 10. لأن عندي 6 في الشنطة والعدد الكل الكرات هو 10 فالاحتمال إنه يطلع خضرة 6 على 10. What about the green? It will the yellow, sorry. It will be what? 4 over 10 because I have 4 green balls and I have 10 total balls. So that's gonna be my first draw. Now let's go to the second draw. In the second draw again I'm gonna have two possibilities. بيكون عندي احتمالين. Right? So everyone gonna be 2. So I'm gonna have green and green. Also I'm gonna have yellow and yellow. عندي احتمال إنه يطلع لي أخضر وأخضر ولا عندي احتمال ثاني يطلع لي أخضر وأصفر. عندي احتمال إنه يطلع لي أصفر وأخضر. عندي احتمال إنه يطلع لي أصفر وأصفر. So now let's think about the second draw. With the second draw, what I'm gonna have how many balls? I'm gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm gonna have 9 balls لأن بدون إرجاع شليت أنا كورة ما رجعتها. So in the denominator I'm gonna have 9 for all of them. Okay, لأن بيبقى 9. بيبقى عدد الكور 9 بعد السحبة الأولى لأنك شليت already كورة واحدة. So now let's think about it. If I take green إذا شليت خضراء does the number of green balls change? The answer is yes, it will be reduced by 1. إذا شليت خضراء بينقص عدد الأخضر. But if I take green, does the number of yellow will be reduced? No, it will be the same, 4. If I take yellow, does the number of green balls change? No, it will be 6. But if I take yellow, does the number of yellow change? Yes, it will be 3. بينقص 1. So now what I'm gonna have, I would like to have the probability of both green and green. So the probability of getting green gonna be what? الاحتمال الأول إني أجيب خضراء هو كم؟ 6 على 10 times ضرب الاحتمال الثاني اللي يتبعه إني أجيب green is 5 over 9 which is gonna be 30 over 90 and again it will be 1 over 3. So now let's go to the last question of this mock exam, which is 19 part B. This question is a bit tricky because in a class of 40 students, 15 study physics, 10 study chemistry, and 15 study biology. What is the probability that 3 students selected at random are studying physics? So what I'm gonna look at here, First, the total number of students are 40. How many of them studying physics? 15, right? And what they want me to find, what is the probability that 3 students selected? Remember, if you have the word selected, means you're gonna use what? Combination, because the order doesn't matter. At random are studying physics. So we should remember that B, or the probability, equal number of ways we want divided by numbers or of all ways. In brief, P, or the probability, equal what we really want. What we really want is how we can select 3 from what? For 15 who's studying physics. So here it's gonna be P equal كيف نختار 3 من 15 شخص يدرس physics فيزياء. It will be 15 C and 3. نختار 15 من 3 divided by all the number of all ways. What we mean by the all ways, جميع الطرق الممكنة إن نختار من 40 3. ما يهمني إذا كانوا يدرسوا physics، إذا كانوا يدرسوا chemistry ولا biology. ففي البداية أنا بقسم عدد الطرق اللي أباهنا أنا إني أبى 3 طلاب هيك يدرسوا physics، نقسمهم في العدد الكلي للطلاب. يعني العدد الكلي في طريقة اختيار الطلاب. So I'm gonna have, remember that 15 C3 equal what? Is 15 factorial divided by 3 factorials times 15 minus 3 factorials, which is gonna give me 455, and the second one is 43 is 40 factorial divided by 3 factorials times 40 minus 3 all factorials, which is gonna give me, if I use the calculator, 9,880. So what is the probability gonna be? It's gonna be 455, 9,880, which gonna be, if I use the calculator again, 0.046, which means it is not likely to happen at all. It is unlikely to happen. And that was the last question of the mock exam for the final exam. Remember, I will use this time, or I will use this time just to tell you what you're gonna do here. Remember, most of you here struggle with the English. Understanding the question is the key to solving the question. فهم السؤال نصف الإجابة، فلازم تفهم السؤال بالطريقة الصحيحة للإجابة. And how you gonna understand the question correctly، كيف بتفهم السؤال بشكل صحيح. You have the question papers، عندكم كتيب الأسئلة. You're gonna go back to the question paper, try to solve as much questions as you can. However, remember, when you solve the question, you should also understand the question. يوم بتحلوا الأسئلة لازم تفهموا الأسئلة، لازم تفهموا طريقة صياغة الأسئلة. ما يخصلكم بفقط تحفظوا الحل، تعرفوا كيف تحل، لأن معظم أو هناك كثير حالات أن الطالب يعرف الحل لكن يكتب حل خاطئ. فحاولوا تبتعدوا من هذا الموضوع عن طريق أنكم تراجعوا الأسئلة. وشكرا جزيلا لكم.